I love breaking cheap home gym equipment. So much so that equipment companies have started to finally take my advice. Today, I have a near perfect all-in-one functional trainer, Smith machine, leg press, as well as a squat rack. But it does have one flaw. Is it a deal breaker? Stick around and find out. The No Fate channel, checking in. Jonathan here with a full, honest review of the RitFit Buffalo all-in-one home gym. Something that seems to have it all. We're talking Smith machine, functional trainer, squat rack. It's also got a landmine attachment, lat pull down, low row, as well as plate storage, dip attachments, and even barbell holders. People have been loving these all-in-one home gyms because it is just one purchase and your home gym is complete. You can do everything with this bad boy in terms of strength training, powerlifting, bodybuilding, even slimming down that good old dad bod. We know home gym equipment companies love to give the people what they want. The main problem up until now with these all-in-one home gyms is that they were, frankly, very cheap, unstable, wobbly, and in a few cases, just downright unsafe.
But did you die?
Companies have been pulling in customers with exceptionally low prices, fake marketing photos, and paid for influencer reviews.
No.
Leaving customers who ultimately make the purchase feeling exceptionally disappointed. The RitFit Buffalo all-in-one Smith machine looks to buck that trend. Up until now, I've liked most of the stuff I've reviewed from RitFit, finding that they over-deliver when it comes to value in terms of what they're giving you versus what they are charging. Well, RitFit seems to be upping their game, coming in at $1,600 retail before any sales, and they throw sales every week. The Buffalo Smith machine all-in-one home gym seems to over-deliver on that price point. But as of right now, today, I checked out to find another coupon code, leaving this thing as low as $1,350 delivered. Now, my biggest number one gripe when it comes to these all-in-one home gyms is that companies will do a bait and switch. They keep that price ultra low and the marketing photos look great. They look out of this world. They look like it is a fantastic deal. But the companies cheap out in a number of ways. And the worst of them all is the pulleys. They go with plastic pulleys. Now, I fully admit that if you are on a budget, plastic pulleys work and they will get the job done. Agreed. However, there's nothing like aluminum pulleys to give you that buttery, smooth, functional trainer feeling that we all want in our home gyms.
And it feels different. It feels fantastic.
Well, rejoice, because RitFit has hit that subscribe button. They've been watching my videos and they know that if they wanted to get a good review from me, they better go with the aluminum pulleys when they drop this Buffalo all-in-one Smith machine. And they did. The functional trainer experience on this is smooth, buttery smooth. Another area where companies cut corners is the Smith machine. You won't know how good and smooth it feels until you get it in-house and get it assembled. And in some areas, they actually go really cheap, not only on the Smith machine, but the safeties and the metal that they use. I've actually done drop tests on these, finding that a few of them actually broke. Now the RitFit, it's held up. I've done a few drop tests with weight on this thing, no issues, no problem, and the metal is thick. Now, another thing they added for the Smith machine was this leg press plate. It takes about 30 seconds to connect to the Smith machine bar. You connect it and you've got yourself a modified floor press, leg press, whatever you want to call it. So honestly, when I got it in, I'm like, I'm never going to use this thing. I didn't think it was going to feel good, but yes, I've been using it a lot more than I thought. And when it comes to a home gym, it's hard to get leg exercises in, especially without buying dedicated pieces of equipment. So the fact that they're throwing this in for gratis is a nice way to say, they're giving you good value. Now, the functional trainer is plate loaded. And the reality is, if you want a selectorized functional trainer inside your power rack, you're gonna have to pony up a whole lot more money than $13.50. And I found that this plate loaded one works well, and you typically don't get bothered by the plate loading experience. You kind of get used to knowing how much weight you need to put on and making sure that you balance the same weight on each side so that the rails are aligned. And again, you get that nice functional trainer feeling. Why do people covet a functional trainer? It's because of all the great exercises you can do. Obviously, cable flies, but you can also do tricep pushdowns, bicep curls, and a whole host of functional trainer exercises. The great thing about this Buffalo all-in-one home gym is that you can also do heavy, low rows. They actually have a foot plate that isn't cheap, looks great, and you can lock your feet in. The beauty of this thing that a lot of people don't even look at in terms of the specs is the cable strength. Get this, each side can hold 500 plus pounds, meaning if you've got ultra thin plates, you can load this thing up and absolutely go to town on all of your heaviest lifts. One thing that I believe is criminally underrated when it comes to a home gym is the pull-up bar, and RitFit does it right. They give you this multi-grip pull-up bar, and we know that pull-ups are a fantastic back exercise, but it gives you different handle options, allowing you to target your back in different angles. Also, the grips themselves are grippy. It's not just a slippery metal, so you can actually have a really nice grip when you're doing them. To add insult to injury, if you happen to have TRX straps, you can hook those up, or gymnastics rings, giving you tons of versatility for one piece of equipment. The RitFit Buffalo also comes with a half rack, meaning you can squat with this thing. You can do shrugs, bench press, incline bench press, bent over rows. You can do bicep curls. Hey, if you can dream about it in a squat rack, you can do it on the RitFit Buffalo. But wait, there's more. They also give you tons of plate storage in the rear, as well as vertical real estate for you to store your safeties as well as your J-hooks. Not one, but two barbell holders on the rear uprights. If you add a barbell and some plates to this purchase, your home gym is practically done. Heck, they even gave you some pretty beefy safeties and J-hooks with thick rubber lining to protect your barbell. Plus, with a max height of 81 inches, this thing is going to fit in any warehouse, farmhouse, outhouse, hen house. Heck, it'll even fit in your parents' spare bedroom, your basement, or even your garage. I've been using the RitFit Buffalo for 3 weeks now. I've been clanging and banging away with this thing, and downright, it's sturdy. I've tried to wobble it, I've tried to tip it over. I even did drop tests in hopes that it would break and make for some good YouTube content. No such luck. I will say that, as I mentioned before, the functional trainer aspect is smooth. The Smith machine works probably better than the price point would suggest, and it's downright nice having everything in your home gym in a really small space. It allows for very quick transitions from one exercise to another so that you can really plow through your training and turn up the intensity. Now, one thing that caught me by surprise that I ended up liking a lot more, I kind of alluded to this, was the vertical leg press. The setup wasn't as bad as I thought once I got the hang of it, and frankly, I found I liked it a lot. I was using it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I'd use it a few times just to report back my findings, but I ended up incorporating it into every one of my leg days. But can this RitFit Buffalo handle your middle-aged dad bod max lifts? And the truth be told, if you plan to be the next Mr. Olympia, if you're shooting D-ball and you are eating gorilla pituitary glands, this might not be the rack for you. But for the rest of us mere mortals, this is going to be able to handle all of our max lifts, anything that we could potentially throw at it, and then some.
Forget about it.
I have over 350 pounds on the bar right now, and I put the bar as far away from the rack as I could to give it the most rotational momentum to tip this rack. I even removed all of the counterweight storage that was in the rear it's not there anymore. And you can see this thing isn't going anywhere. So for the common person, this is going to be able to handle your max lifts safely, and that's what's important. Now, if you are consistently benching or squatting with 350 pounds, this may not be enough for you. And especially if you plan to go heavier, you're probably going to want to go with the beefier rack. And while I would love to tell you that I can squat 350 pounds, I can bench 350 pounds, I don't even know if I can deadlift 350 pounds. And the majority of people just aren't as strong as they think they are. The majority of us, myself included, probably aren't going to see 250 pounds on this bar very often in our training. So if your max squat or your max bench tops out at 350 pounds, you're going to be just fine with this beast of a Buffalo all-in-one home gym piece of equipment. But if your name's Brandon and you are warming up with 350 pounds on your bench in your basement, yeah, you're gonna just need to pony up extra money and get a heavier duty piece of equipment. So what didn't I like about the RitFit Buffalo? My longtime subscribers and my wife know I always gotta complain about something. The dip handles, yeah, they're cheap. There's absolutely no knurling, no grip whatsoever on them. And when you set them up, you're gonna find that your hands are like too far apart. So unless you're like King Kong, your dips are gonna really feel uncomfortable because they'll be outside of where you should have your arms placed. The other issue is the plate storage. It's in the rear. Why? Because it has to be. Putting the weight storage in the rear means you not only need clearance for the plates, but you need extra room in order to kind of get in here as well as pull the plates out. The reality is it's just one of those sacrifices in terms of the design features that RitFit had to make. My number one biggest issue when it comes to the RitFit Buffalo all-in-one home gym has to be the functional trainer rails. Now, don't get it twisted. The functional trainer operates smooth as silk, but for whatever reason, they did two things wrong. Number one, they used very light rails, ultra thin, meaning they just don't have a lot of sticking power in terms of how they're fixed. Also, they compounded the issue by having it affixed way up here with a single bolt. The problem with that is there's just a little bit of slop in there. You don't notice it when you're lifting, but I really wish they had used not only a heavier rail itself to give it some density, give it some oomph, some sticking power, but also had a better connection here at the top to really lock it into place and reduce that slop.
Lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
And now it's time. It is time for my final thoughts on the RitFit Buffalo all-in-one Smith machine. The reality is this thing is a phenomenal deal at $1,600. But as I already mentioned, they're throwing tons of sales. As of today, $1,350 delivered. That is crazy low because in 2025, you ain't getting much for your home gym for $1,350, unfortunately. And truth be told, it's gonna handle all of your max lifts. If you're lifting less than 350 pounds, guess what? This thing can handle whatever you can throw at it, and you could throw a lot at this thing and it's still gonna come back for more. The beauty of this is it's one purchase and you are literally done with your home gym. The one caveat I would say is that I would recommend having cast iron plates, allowing you to load up the functional trainer heavy for those lat pull downs and low rows, because if you have bumper plates, which I love bumper plates, they are going to take up more real estate on that functional trainer. And while I had to complain about something so that you know this is an honest review, and I wish there wasn't as much slop in these railings, the functional trainer aspect with the aluminum pulleys is still probably the smoothest around, especially at that price point. Now, one thing that's brand new and ships absolutely free and is probably the best home gym deal in town are these two videos. Give them a watch. It helps the channel as usual. Thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back.